विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपताक स्वामिनिति नाम्ने नमाचार्यपदाय निताय कृपा प्रदायिने गौरकथा दामदाय नगर ग्राम तारिणी नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नाम्ने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्रीमद् भागवतम कैंटो 4 चैप्टर 9 टेक्स्ट 15 त्वं नित्य मुक्त परिशुद्ध विबुद्ध आत्मा कूटस्थ आदि पुरुषो भगवान् त्रि आदिश यद बुद्धि अवस्थितम अखंडितया स्वदृष्ट्या द्रष्टा स्थिता अधिमको व्यतिरिक्त आसे. My Lord, by your unbroken transcendental glance, you're the supreme witness of all the stages of intellectual activities. You're eternally liberated. Your existence is situated in pure goodness, and you are existent in the super soul without change. You are the original personality of God at full with 6 opulences, and you're eternally the master of the 3 modes of material nature. Thus, you're always different from the ordinary living entities. As Lord Vishnu, you maintain all the affairs of the
Mother is
entire
not audible. Is
universe,
that for me or for
and yet you
everybody?
stand aloof
No, Prabhu,
and are the
she's audible
enjoyer
for
of the
us.
results of all sacrifices. Purport.
Hare Krishna.
An atheistic argument against the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead
Mataji,
states
Hare Krishna.
that if
Hare
God,
Krishna,
the Supreme
Mataji.
Person, appears and disappears and sleeps
Mataji,
and
Hare
awakens,
Krishna.
then what's the difference between God and the living
Prabhu, she's not
entity?
able to hear, Prabhu.
Dhruv Maharaj is carefully distinguishing the existence of the Supreme Personality
Hare
of
Krishna, we can
Godhead
hear Mataji's voice.
No,
Yes,
we can
Prabhu,
hear.
from
yes,
that of the
yes,
living
yes.
entities.
We
He
can
points out the
hear, but
following
Mataji not
differences.
able to hear us.
The Lord is
I think
eternally
Yes,
Correct.
liberated.
Aware Prabhu
Whenever he
is speaking
appears, even
something.
within this material
Yeah,
world,
okay, okay.
he is never entangled by the 3 modes of
Okay, we'll
material
wait for some
nature. He is known, therefore, as Tri Adisha, the master of the 3 modes of material nature. In Bhagavad Gita 7.14, it is said, Daivihi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. The living entities are all entangled in the 3 modes of material nature. The external energy of the Lord is very strong, but the Lord, as the master of the 3 modes of material nature, is ever liberated from the action and reaction of those modes. He therefore is uncontaminated, as stated in the Isopanishad. The contamination of the material world does not affect the Supreme Godhead Krishna. Supreme Godhead. Krishna therefore says in the Bhagavad Gita that those who are rascals and fools think of him as an ordinary human being, not knowing his Param Bhavam. Param Bhavam refers to his being always transcendentally situated. Material contamination cannot affect him. Another difference between the Lord and the... Okay, we'll go bit by bit because... So, Dhruv Maharaja is glorifying Krishna so nicely, and he's saying that by your unbroken transcendental glance, you are the supreme witness of all stages of intellectual activities. uh, so the so he's witnessing everything, all our activities in the conscious stage, in the unconscious, in the dream stage. Krishna is aware of what's happening to us, what we're consciously thinking in our subconscious, what is there, and then in also in a dream state, and what is happening within our mind, within our intelligence. So all Krishna is aware of everything. You're eternally liberated. Your existence is situated in pure goodness, and you're existent in the super soul without change. So the Paramatma is completely distinct from us, from the living entity, because we are completely covered up in the conditioned state. We are affected by the modes, especially of passion and ignorance. Of course, also goodness, but goodness is coming from the more from the soul. Passion and ignorance is more material, more, I mean, uh, is more connected with the material nature. So that is why he is not at all affected by that, though he is aware of everything. We cannot think that, okay, Krishna is outside of material nature, so he doesn't understand material nature. That is also not true. That, okay, he is very, very elevated, he is very transcendental. What will he understand about our thoughts? Okay, material thoughts, Krishna is not, he will not understand, or he is not aware of it. That's another. That's why people think, oh, we can tell Krishna all nice things in front of him, and then he won't know what's happening below. But he knows everything. He's aware. You are the supreme witness of all stages of intellectual activities. You are eternally liberated. He doesn't have to be material in order to understand material things, because he has only created everything, and all his energies are only making everything work for us. Even we are in these modes, and we are helplessly being in the modes, and we are being orchestrated. Everything is being orchestrated by his energy, material energy. Maya Shakti is controlling us. So why will he not know? He knows everything. All materialistic thoughts, ideas, plans, whatever we have, Krishna is aware of every one of them. So that is the first thing we have to understand, that Krishna is aware. He is even in our material work or material, whatever we are in, we can always depend on Krishna to help us out, because everything is coming from him only. Actually, when we are in material consciousness, we are completely controlled by Maya Shakti, and the modes are acting on us, and we think we are very independent. This is me out of false ego. We think that this I'm this body, I'm this mind, whatever my thoughts are my own. Actually, they are not our own at all. We're completely being, our Maya is making us think that we're independent, but she is giving all this like a puppet, she's controlling us. And on the other hand, so that is why her duty is to make us fall down, become worse and worse, from goodness to passion to ignorance. Constantly, we are being degraded. And on the other hand, the only way, and so because of that, we're constantly committing so many sins. And that we can see that in the influence of Kali Yuga, it's even become very, very fast destructive, because there are so many agents of Maya which are polluting us very fast in the modes of passion and ignorance. On the other hand, and so we commit so many sins. And the minute we surrender to Krishna, then Krishna says, Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshasyami master. Don't be afraid. Once you surrender to me, then I will start controlling you. Then there is no question of all these sinful things. So that is how, when Jagai and Madai, they were completely in the nadir of their, whatever, in their spiritual development, completely sunk in total ignorance. They were doing the worst of sinful activities. And the minute they were elevated, then after, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also visibly he showed how he is accepting all their sins. For a second, his golden, beautiful form became black, and everyone was shocked. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled and he said, what do you all see? So Advaita Charya said, we see you as Krishna, because he became black for a moment. just like Krishna, that so many sins he absorbed. And then after that, after he had given them the initiation, changed their names from Jagai, Madhai, that that also was Krishna's names only. They're Jagannath, maybe Jagannath and Madhava. And they were called by their associates as Jagai Madai. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave them very nice Jagadananda and Madhavananda. So then he warned the devotees, nobody should see them as their previous bodies. You should not think that now at any time they're going to be acting also, their mind might again tell them something. So everybody might be afraid of them. No, you should not have any such thoughts, because now they're fully surrendered. I have entered them, and whatever the activities they do, whatever they speak, anything, you should know that I am only doing it through them. And everyone should respect them, and everyone should serve them, should feed them, because now they don't have a job or occupation, right? They were just useless wastrels. So now they became devotee, and he is telling that whoever feeds them, or whatever service they render them, then Krishna will accept it as nectar, because I mean, whatever service you do to them, Krishna will accept it. So that is how he glorified. I mean, because when a person's a Vaishnav is not under the control of the material modes. So that's why we should not judge. People even judge Krishna on the basis of the three modes. They're saying, oh, Krishna, if he took birth, then how can he be God? So, like that, because they think he should also be like us, only he's also under the three modes. Or we try to judge even Vaishnavas, that's also not allowed, because they are obeying the dictation of Krishna. And somebody who is still under the clutches of Maya, who's taking dictation from the mind, which is controlled by Maya, cannot know what are the thoughts and the motivations of a pure devotee who's surrendered to Krishna. And that is why the two things are so much in contrast. You cannot understand the mind of a Vaishnav, a pure devotee, because they will be thinking in terms of what will satisfy Krishna. And a conditioned soul will be thinking of what will satisfy my mind. And you might think the Vaishnava is also thinking like that. So he is making that clear distinction first, Dhruv Maharaj, with Krishna himself, that you are aware of all the stages of intellectual activities, you're eternally liberated, your existence is situated in pure goodness, and you're existent in this super soul without change. So Krishna's expansion is Paramatma, and Krishna is also present. So he's Paramatma, may be forearmed, but he's also Krishna. Only Krishna is aware. You are the original personality of Godhead, full with six opulences, and you are eternally the master of the three modes of material nature. So he can easily stop it in a moment, all the three modes which are affecting us. We should only desire to serve him. That is all. Krishna, I want to make you happy. No more. I'm not going to try to make my mind happy. I'm going to make you happy. That's all. And then we can be out of the three modes, because Krishna is out of the three modes. Thus, you're always different from the ordinary living entities. As Lord Vishnu, you maintain all the affairs of the entire universe, and yet you stand aloof and are the enjoyer of the results of all sacrifices. That is the amazing thing. Whatever work we do here, the whatever sacrifices we perform, the enjoyer is Krishna. At the same time, he is not attached to all these material activities at all. He is maintaining all the affairs of the entire universe, and yet he stands aloof. That is the greatest, paradox. He is only controlling everything, But he is not at all enjoying, I mean, he's not interested in that. He's aloof. This material world doesn't interest him at all, because he is fully made of spiritual substance. Just imagine how much love, how much, for our sake, he is doing all this without any interest at all. This doesn't give him any, it doesn't excite him at all. He is just standing aloof from it, but maintaining everything, controlling everything, all this for our sake. It's like, some parent, yeah, he's taking his children to the park, or one of these what do you call those, theme parks and all that. Okay, for the child's sake, child is enjoying all the different games and other things, and the child, parent only has taken the child all the way, arranging for everything, paying money everywhere for the child to play the games and other things. Parent is not interested. He is coming there out of love for the child. He is standing aloof, waiting for the child to finish playing and saying, okay, now I want to go home. Till then, he is waiting, parent, patiently. So, the same way, Krishna, he is not getting any happiness out of this material world. And so, suppose the child, the parent says, no, no, don't go in this particular game. You will not be able to manage it. Go to another game. The parent might direct, and the child may say, no, I want this game only. Maybe, you're not allowing me because you want to play the game or something. Or if the child starts thinking that the parent has got some selfish interest, you know, and the parent can afford all the games, say, and he is not giving the child, telling him, because for his sake, here it's very dangerous, risky, don't go there, you'll get hurt. And the child says, I know, because maybe you don't have enough money, or you simply want to punish me, you don't love me. All these sort of things the child starts thinking. So it's ridiculous. Why will the parent has enough money, and the parent loves the child. He knows what is good for the child. So the child doesn't trust the parent. That is how ridiculous, and thinks the parent is also, he's got some limitations. Same way, we think Krishna, we try to judge him in a material way. Yeah, he is not at all interested in this material world. He's aloof from that. But he's only created everything for our sake. As Lord Vishnu, you maintain all the affairs of the entire universe, and yet you stand aloof and are the enjoyer of the results of all sacrifices. Purport. An atheistic argument against the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of God, it states that, yeah, because when the Lord appears just to assure us, okay, I am here, this is how I am, take shelter of me, to develop our faith. Otherwise, if it's all in the scriptures, but then we've never seen him, then people will have doubts. So Krishna comes and shows himself. But then he also has this Leela, transcendental Leela of taking birth, and acting like one of us. He is also exchanging with his pure devotees. How will he attract us? He has to show what are the real, what is real activity, what is real, how to have relationship with him. He wants to show, come here and show himself. So he takes birth. We will understand, we'll relate with him also more like that, and it's for his pleasure. He also wants to have rasa with his devotees. So some atheistic people, because of envy, they don't want a supreme God and all that. So then they try to belittle him and make him to their level and say, how can he be God if he's taken birth and all that? And so Dhruv Maharaja is carefully distinguishing the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from that of the living entities. He points out the following differences. The Lord is eternally liberated. So even if he appears, takes birth, seems to be growing up slowly, he goes to school and plays with other children, all these things. But he's never entangled by the three modes of material nature. He is known, therefore, as Sri Adisha, the master of the three modes. And we that's what Krishna says, Daivihi Esha Gunamai Mamamaya Duratya. Living entities are all entangled in the three modes of material nature. And externally, energy of the Lord is very strong. But the Lord, as the master of the three modes of material nature, is ever liberated from the action and reaction of these modes. So that is why Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that those who are rascals and fools think of him as an ordinary being, human being. It says, no, Manushim, what is that? Manushim, this thing. Those who they think that fools
Mamoda.
think that I have,
Avajananti Mamoda. Avajananti Mamoda.
huh?
Avajananti Mamoda.
Huh. Avajananti Mamuda Manushim Tanu
Tanashritam.
Ashrita. So they think because I've taken a human form, the Mudas think that I'm just ordinary. They don't believe in me. Another difference between the Lord and the living entity is that a living entity is always in darkness. Even though he may be situated in the mode of goodness, there are still so many things which are unknown to him. But it is not the same for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He knows past, present, and future, and everything that is happening in everyone's heart. Bhagavad Gita confirms this. Vedaham samatitani. The Lord is not part of the soul. He is the unchangeable, supreme soul. And the living entities are parts and parcels. The living entity is forced to appear in this material world under the direction of Daiva Maya. But when the Lord appears, he comes by his own internal potency, Atma Maya. Besides that, a living entity is within the time of past, present, and future. His life is a beginning, a birth, and in the conditioned state, his life ends with death. But the Lord is Adi Purusha, original person. In the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma offers his respects to Adi Purusha, Govinda, the original person who has no beginning. Huh? Whereas the creation of this material world has a beginning. The Vedanta says, Janmadi Asya Yataha. Everything is born from the Supreme, but the Supreme has no birth. He has all the six opulences in full and beyond comparison. He is the master of material nature. His intelligence is not broken under any circumstances, and he stands aloof, although he is the maintainer of the whole creation. As stated in the Vedas, Katha Upanishad, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. The Lord is the supreme maintainer. Living entities are meant to serve him by offering sacrifices, for he is the rightful enjoyer. Just a minute. Krishna. He is the master of material nature. His intelligence is not broken under any circumstances, and he stands aloof, although he is the maintainer of the whole creation. As stated in the Vedas, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. Lord is the supreme maintainer. Living entities are meant to serve him by offering sacrifices, for he is the rightful enjoyer of the results of all sacrifices. Actually, doing the sacrifice is not the problem. When we are become anxious to enjoy the results of the sacrifices, that is when we get into problem. We just do work as sacrifice for Krishna, knowing that he is the enjoyer of whatever I do, and we leave it completely to Krishna to run our lives. Then we'll be blissful, because imagine how expert Krishna is in managing everything. There is also there was a very nice, somebody had sent me um, a talk by a Christian priest. He was telling, never ask something from the Lord, because you may be planning something small, whereas the Lord may have something big for you, and then you might just end up getting that small thing. So he gave an example of this is a true story that priest was explaining, that I don't forget the name of the um, golf player. Is supposed to be a world's best golf player, American. And so then there was the king of Saudi Arabia. He what he did, he invited all the golf players, the world's best golf players, 100 golf players, he invited for a big feast. He threw a party to them. And so the king was going around, receiving all the guests while they were having, yeah, while they were eating and feasting. The king, he went around, talked to all the celebrities, like that. So then he came to this particular person, and out of the blue, he told him, "Ask me what you want." And this one was really taken aback suddenly, because he's the king, he can give anything. And so he said, "Tell me, what do you want?" So he said, "Okay, give me a club," because he's asking him, "Tell me what you want." You can't keep quiet, also say, "No, I don't want anything." That will also be rude, because king is offering something. And suddenly he was taken aback, and he said, "Okay, give me a club." So then king smiled, "Okay, you will receive this thing. I will send you this thing to your address. You can expect it in the next 1 or 2 weeks," like that, he told him. So then, this is a true story. So this golf player went back to America, and he was waiting for, every now and then he was going to his mailbox to see if something has come. Didn't come. It didn't come for 2, 3 weeks, 2 months. Then he thought, "Oh, king is very, busy and all that. Where would he remember?" He just said something, "Okay, let it be. I don't want anything." And he just forgot about it. Then suddenly one day, when he went to check his mailbox as usual, then he saw a big fat, envelope there. And he thought, who has sent it? And the king of Saudi Arabia, it was written there. So he very excitedly took it to home inside, and then he opened it, and he saw in it, the king had written that, "I grant you 500 acres of golf club, 500 acres of golf club for you." So he was shocked. Actually, club has got two meanings in the golf game. Club is also this the stick with which you strike the ball. Club also means the entire golf link. So in a small way, he thought, "Okay, I should ask something." So he said, "Okay, give me a golf club." He asked just for one stick. And The king thinks in a big way, right? So he was thinking, okay, golf club means he wants a full club for himself. So he granted him 500 acres. He said, you can, the money he gave or something to purchase. And so he had an entire golf link for himself. Imagine. So this is how we may think, if we leave it to the king, or if we leave it to the king of all kings, Krishna, he is planning big things for us. And we are just insisting on small, small things. And we are very attached to it. And we are insisting it should be like this only. And then we are missing out on the big things that Krishna is planning for us. So that and one should never compare the sleeping of an ordinary living entity to the sleeping of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the causal ocean. There is no stage at which the living entity can compare to the Supreme Person. The Mayavadi philosophers, being unable to adjust to all this, come to the conclusion of impersonalism or voidism. So we can never understand the Lord. He is so great. How can we try to understand him? So, and that's why we should not try to explain him or think he is like us and give all our shortcomings to him. But we should try to see through the eyes of the Shastra, and we should surrender to him so that Krishna reveals a little by little about his glories. Dhruv Maharaja, he was just a child, but by the Lord's mercy, he was able to see all these great qualities of Krishna. Yasmin viruddha gatayo hi anishampatanti vidyadayo vivida shaktaya anupurvayat tad brahma vishwabhavam ekam anantam adhyam anandamatram avikaram aham prapadye. My dear Lord, in your impersonal manifestation of Brahman, there are always two opposing elements, knowledge and ignorance. Your multi energies are continuously manifest, but the impersonal Brahman, which is undivided, original, changeless, unlimited, and blissful, is the cause of the material manifestation. Sorry, yes, okay. Just a minute. Krishna, sorry. Because you're the same impersonal Brahman, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that the unlimited impersonal Brahman is the effulgence of the transcendental body of Govinda. In that unlimited effulgent aura of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are innumerable universes with innumerable planets of different categories. Although the Supreme Person is the original cause of all causes, his impersonal effulgence, known as Brahman, is the immediate cause of the material manifestation. Dhruv Maharaj, therefore, offered his respectful obeisances unto the impersonal feature of the Lord. One who realizes this impersonal feature can enjoy the unchangeable Brahmananda, described here as spiritual bliss. So, even though this Brahma Jyoti is a fact, but to think that God is limited only to the Brahma Jyoti occurs because the Mayavadis, the Jnanis, everything they trust their mind and their intelligence so much that they try to understand God with their limited intelligence and mind. And so they think that how can one person do everything? It's not possible. How can he be localized, be in one person in a form? And how can he spread himself everywhere also? So that is why God means he has to be everywhere. So if he's everywhere, then that is an impersonal feature, right? That is the absolute. This is why they come to the conclusion that God can never be, I mean, even if he has form, that is the impersonalists. Impersonalists are not so offensive as Mayavadis. Right now, I'm talking about impersonalists. Why they conclude that Brahman is above personal form is because how can a person be everywhere? So, the impersonal feature of the spiritual reality is higher than the form of the Lord. So, they worship the form so that they can enter the Nirakar, I mean, this Brahmajyoti, which they think is the supreme. So, they have no offense towards Krishna. They only think that because they don't have complete knowledge and they try to understand Krishna intellectually. That is why we can't understand how we have to hear from the Shastra and surrender to Krishna and then slowly understand. Oh, Krishna is like Dhruv Maharaja. He realizes that what is this Brahma Jyoti? It is simply the light coming out of Krishna. And even though the Brahma Jyoti is the cause, the Brahma Jyoti is the spiritual energy, and that transforms into material energy. So there are two energies of the Lord. It is very clear. Krishna is saying, I have two energies, material and spiritual. But if you don't accept that, you don't think Krishna is the supreme, and you think Brahma Jyoti is the topmost, so then naturally you'll have to come to the, I mean, you'll only understand that much. There is Brahma Jyoti, and the transformation of that Brahma Jyoti is this material world. Because here we don't see Brahma Jyoti, but this has to be coming from that because this is temporary. So, in your impersonal manifestation of Brahman, there are always two opposing elements, knowledge and ignorance. That knowledge of spirituality, the spirit soul, that is knowledge, and ignorance is thinking material world to be the truth. Your multi energies are continuously manifest, but the impersonal Brahman, which is undivided, original, changeless, unlimited, and blissful, is the cause of the material manifestation. Because you are the same impersonal Brahman, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. All this is happening. Brahma Jyoti is transforming and all that. But who is the cause? It is Krishna. So he is paying obeisances. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the unlimited impersonal Brahman is the effulgence of the transcendental body of Govinda. In that unlimited effulgent aura of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are innumerable universes with innumerable planets of different categories. So all the spiritual world are existing in that Brahma Jyoti. His impersonal effulgence, known as Brahman, is the immediate cause of the material manifestation. Dhruva Maharaja, therefore, offered his respectful obeisances unto the impersonal feature of the Lord. One who realizes this impersonal feature can enjoy the unchangeable Brahmananda described here as spiritual bliss. So we just get rid of this material modes and we understand that spirit is the cause of matter. Then that itself will give us great happiness. You know, that this material world is not the reality at all. It's so temporary and it's, yeah, I mean, the main thing is because it's temporary. the body keeps on changing, whereas the Atma is permanent. And then I go, and the misunderstanding is, of course, I go and merge into the Brahma Jyoti, which is not a fact. But anyway, even that gives us great happiness because we're part of the eternal. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura describes that this impersonal feature of Brahman manifestation of the Supreme Lord is meant for persons who are essentially very advanced but still not able to understand the personal feature or variegatedness of the spiritual world. Such devotees are known as Jnana Mishra Bhaktas, or devotees whose devotional service is mixed with empiric knowledge. Because the impersonal Brahman realization is a partial understanding of the absolute truth, Dhruv Maharaja offers his respectful obeisances. So this is different. Dhruv Maharaja, we can also, a devotee worships everything as part and parcel of Krishna. Even the material energy, all the devatas, everyone devotee worships because as part and parcel of Krishna. It is said that this impersonal Brahman is the distant realization of the absolute truth. Okay, we will not go. I mean, today was. Oh, just a minute. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for the breaks today. Yeah, any questions or comments? I'm stopping halfway. The purport will continue tomorrow. Yes.
Mataji Dhanas Pranam, please accept the obeisances.
Yeah, please accept member business.
Mataji, for clarity, for my knowledge, can you tell me the difference between impersonalists and Mayavadi?
So impersonalists, they are not envious of Krishna. They're just trying to understand him intellectually, and so they come to the conclusion that a person cannot be everywhere, and so Brahma Jyoti is superior to him. So they worship impersonal in order to reach the impersonal. That is the impersonalist. Now Mayavadis, they are envious of Krishna, and so they say that Krishna's form is material. That is just in the mode of goodness. When he appears, he is also part of Maya. And only the Brahma Jyoti is the reality. That is the absolute truth. So this is how, what is the difference? Mayavadi is thinking that Krishna's body is material. They don't give any this thing to the to Krishna's form. They're saying that only Brahmajyoti is the truth. Whereas impersonalists, they also accept Krishna's form as truth or Sachidananda Vigraha, but they're only saying that because God has to be everywhere, and how can one form be everywhere? So we take it that I mean, ultimately, the truth, absolute truth, is impersonal. So they are not so offensive, though they are to. I mean, they just reached the first stage of understanding Krishna. That's all.
So, in other words, is it true to say that all the impersonalists are Nirakaravadis in the sense that the
Who? All
absolute
the
truth, Nirakaravadis.
ah
So, Nirakaravadis are impersonalists who accept that ultimate truth is Nirakar. Okay?
yes,
And also at the same time, they accept the fact that God can take a form, and that is also true. It is spiritual. They accept that. Is that what I'm hearing, Mataji?
ah yes,
Okay.
yes. Nirakar said yes. That's what
Okay, then my next question is, Mataji, does followers of Shankaracharya, are they Mayavadis or impersonalists?
Mayavadis. Shankaracharya he purposely came to mislead people. Because
Yes,
he
Mataji.
wanted to people, the Buddhists, to uh, come to the Vedic fold, and so he made the philosophy acceptable to them. Because Buddhism, again, see, Buddhism is also not proper philosophy, but that was preached by Lord himself, or empowered Satyavesh Avatar Buddha. And Shiva propagated as Shankaracharya this philosophy, Mayavada, just so that those atheistic Buddhists would come to the Vedic fold. Because Mayavada is also almost like atheism only, because saying that Krishna's form is material. So that is why he propagated that.
So, all followers of Shankaracharyas are Mayavadis in the sense that they do not accept Lord's actual form. They only say that whenever Lord, even when they appear, he takes a material body. That's what is the concept of the
Maya.
Mayavadis, and they are
Yes,
followers of Shankaracharya.
yes.
So, impersonalists, can you give an example who propagates
Four
impersonalism?
Kumaras. Four Kumaras.
Chaturkumaras.
Yeah,
Okay.
because that impersonalism always existed. Impersonalism has always been there. Mayavadi is a recent thing. Shankaracharya appeared only, in the last how many, like in the 800 BC, sorry, AD. Whereas impersonalism, Chatur Kumaras have always been there.
Okay.
Impersonalism has always, this thing, existed.
And if I'm not asking too many questions, one more question, Mataji.
Mm.
The Kumara Sampradaya, which region of India, or we have four Vaishnava Sampradayas, right, Mataji? So out
Ah,
of that, Kumara Sampradaya, which regions we have followers of that, Mataji?
they are in North India, in Vrindavan. Basically, there in that area you have.
Brahmakumaris, Mataji?
Huh?
Brahmakumaris?
No. Brahma Kumaris are not Vaishnavas at all.
Right.
Kumar, that is Kumari. This is four Kumaras. And four Kumaras not as impersonalists. Four Kumaras became Vaishnavas, no?
Yes.
After that, they started the Vaishnava Sampradaya.
And Rudra Sampradaya, which region of India we see, Mataji, Rudra Sampradaya?
Gujarat. Vallabh
Gujarat.
Sampradaya. Yeah.
Sampradaya. Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare
But
Krishna.
Mataji, this Kumar Sampradaya, if they propagate impersonalism, then How come they are the authorized, like
They are
one of
not
the four?
impersonalists. That's what I'm saying. Kumara
Okay,
Sampradaya are not impersonalists.
okay,
That is the Kumaras, after they became Vaishnavas, huh? They went there to Vishnu. That is why Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha came. They were the
okay,
ones who went there, and Vishnu, they became devotees.
okay, Mataji. Yeah, like when they go to Vaikuntha and when they cursed this Jai Vijay. After that, when they saw the Vishnu, they changed it.
Yeah, they became Vaishnavas.
Okay, okay, Mataji. But the Acharya is from Nimbarka Acharya, Mataji, Kumar Sampradaya, who is
Yeah,
from South. I think he went to
Nimbarka,
Vrindavan.
and
Nimbarka
latest one
Acharya,
is Vallabhacharya.
Vallabhacharya. Okay. And what is this Radha Vallabha Sampradaya, Mataji?
I don't know. It is not Vaishnava Sampradaya.
It's not
What is that
Vaishnava.
Radha Vallabh? I don't know. What is that?
There is a one like devotee, like I do not know what his name is Premanandi. You may know about him. He's getting very popularity in Vrindavan. He follows that Radha Vallabh Sampradaya. So I do not know which one is that.
I don't know whether they are part of any of these or they are. There are many Sahajiyas also in Vrindavan.
Vrindavan, okay.
So we don't know. And in Vrindavan, because we cannot criticize them also, because most of them, they are directly, being corrected by Krishna. So we should not criticize Brijavasis. But at the same time, they also do all this, I don't know. So it's very, Prabhupada warned us, don't, okay, you want to know for just knowledge sake what people are following. We have to make more inquiries, whether they, some Babaji, they're just following, or they're part of some Sampradaya. Actually, the Vrajavasis, they don't require any guru, because they are directly controlled by Krishna, because they are born there now. So we should not criticize also. At the same time, we should not follow also. Because if we don't know who is following which Sampradaya, whether it's authentic or their own thing, we all don't know all that. But we can find out whether they are following any of the four Sampradayas. That is
Actually,
very, very important. Unless they are part of one of the four Sampradayas, they are not authentic.
it's Mataji. I think it's getting very popular, Mataji. I do not know. I will send one or two videos out. If a lot of people sending so much of viral happening, and he gets up at 2 o'clock in morning. He starts his
Oh.
yatra every day. He takes parikrama up this Govardhan. Um, he lost his both the kidneys. Still, he's surviving. Doctor told like you may not survive for more than 2 years, but he's almost surviving more than 17 years now. And a lot of
See,
people go
this
and
is
meet
how
him.
people get cheated. These
Yes,
are not
Mataji.
things by which you choose a guru.
Yeah.
Those any yogi can, or a jnani can also do all those things. Thing is, you have to hear what is he saying.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I also listen to his videos, Mataji, some small reels. He mostly tells about holy name, Mataji. He likes ISKCON devotees and he likes our preaching. He respects so much, Mataji, ISKCON devotees and all. The Radha Vallabh Sampradaya is about, they say Radhe Radhe and all, Mataji. It's
No,
also
but who is
constructed.
which parampara are they following?
Harivamsha Mahaprabhu, Mataji, Harivamsh Mahaprabhu, they say, Mataji. In Vrindavan, some Goswamis are there.
See,
Even in our
Vrindavan
Goswami temple
don't
also.
go by all that. Which
No,
Vaishnava parampara are they? Be very clear about that, because they are
no,
very,
we don't
very
follow
high.
it, Mataji. But some
And,
holy name, glorious holy name, he will be telling about
and that
chanting
you can hear.
holy name.
But
Yeah,
I'm
that only,
saying that
Mataji.
we need to know how to distinguish, because many people in ISKCON itself, in the beginning, many senior devotees also got befooled, because devotees, they wherever you get about Krishna, some advanced knowledge, we are attracted. And don't trust them also, because there have been, even from Gaudiya Math, how they try to trick ISKCON devotees now. They'll glorify Prabhupada. They'll glorify